Hey class, today we're going to be talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. Now parallel lines we briefly talked about when we played Battleship in class. Parallel lines have the same slope, but they have different y-intercepts. Parallel lines never touch, and perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay? Reciprocal slopes and have an intersection point. So this is a actually special kind of intersection. As you can see from the picture here, there's this box. Now, perpendicular lines, when they intersect, they create a 90-degree angle. And we're going to be looking at the slopes here. Let me highlight a couple things here. Notice the slope from this blue equation is 2x, and the slope of the purple equation is -1/2. So what does that mean? Well, an opposite reciprocal slope, opposite basically means if you have a positive slope, it'll become a negative slope. If you started with a negative slope, your slope will now become positive, okay? So that's the first step. The second thing is reciprocal. Reciprocal. That means that you are going to flip your number. So for example, in this case, 2 and -1/2, well, the reciprocal of 2, technically 2 is 2 over 1. We're going to flip that fraction, so our new slope would be 1 over half. All you're doing is switching your numerator and your denominator, okay? But with perpendicular lines, when you're asked to find the slope of a perpendicular line, you have to do both the opposite and the reciprocal slope. So I'll show you the steps here at the bottom for this particular problem. M you started with 2. Now the opposite of 2 is -2. And then the reciprocal of -2, you sometimes need to put that over 1 to help you. You can go ahead and do that. But the reciprocal of -2 over 1 is -1/2. That's how we ended up with this new slope of -1/2. Okay? So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. Let's look at some practice problems. Alright. What is the slope of the line parallel to the line 2x minus 4y equals 8? I want you to take a second here to convert this standard form equation into slope-intercept form, please. If you forgot how to do slope-intercept, or to convert standard form to slope-intercept, I'll show you right here. I need y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That leaves me with -4y equals, I'm going to push this -2x right in front of that 8 because I need it in slope-intercept form, and then I'm going to divide my number by -4 and get y equals -2 divided by -4 is actually 1/2. So I need to write a simplified slope. And then my y-intercept, 8 divided by -4, will give me -2. So the question is saying, what is the slope of a line that's parallel? Well, this is in your head. You should think, okay, parallel means that I have the same slope, I just have different y-intercepts. So in this case, my answer is 1/2, because it's the same slope of the equation that I was given. It didn't ask me for an equation, just asked me for the slope, so make sure you read those directions. Alright, I would like you to try the next one on your own here. You can pause the video to think about it, and I will be going over the answer shortly. Alright, hopefully you try this problem. What is the slope of a line that's perpendicular to the line y equals -3x minus 6? Perpendicular means opposite reciprocal slopes. Sometimes I write little notes down here so that I can remember. Opposite reciprocal slopes, so that means I'm going to do two things. And it's only asking for slope. So I start with -3. Then I'm going to find the opposite of -3, which is +3. Then the reciprocal of 3, I'm just going to write that over 1 because I'm going to be flipping my numerator and my denominator. And my slope is positive 1/3. So that is the opposite reciprocal of -3. Hopefully you guys are seeing here what we're going to be talking about, and it's very simple if you understand the definition and such. I would like you to take a second to look at the next problem, and then once you try to solve it, you can go ahead and you can pause this video, and then when you're done, you can come back and play. Alright, so write the equation of a line in point-slope form, so that's important. That is perpendicular. So I have opposite reciprocal to the equation y equals 2x minus 4 and goes through the point 2, 5. Alright, there's a lot going on here. So just a couple of things. I want my answer, my equation in point slope. That equation is y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. And if you forgot how to do this, please refer back to the video that talks about point slope form. Alright, then I'm going to find the slope that I'm going to be working with. The equation has a slope 2. So I need to find the equation, the opposite reciprocal of this number. Opposite of positive 2 is -2. My reciprocal is, I'm going to flip my numerator and denominator, so the slope that I'm working with is -1/2. Okay, but now I'm actually going a step further. I want to write an equation in point slope form that goes through the point 2, 5. So if you remember from the previous lesson, we're going to be taking the 2, 5 and plugging it into the equation that I've written here in green. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to start off with y minus, because that's the original problem. I'm leaving some space there. And then I'm going to fill in the necessary information. The slope is -1/2 that I just found. And then I'm going to be plugging in my 2, 5. I'm going to highlight this in, let's say, this blue color right here. Oops. Okay, so then I'm going to use that kind of bluish color when I plug it into my equation. My minus x part of the slope, I'm going to look at the x value of this point, which is 2. So I'll have -2. Oops, and I forgot that minus sign earlier. Now we're good. X minus 2 is what I'm plugging in. And then the y coordinate is +5, so y minus 5. So my final equation is y minus 5 equals -1/2 parentheses x minus 2. This is the simplified version of the equation. Okay? If you miss any of these steps, please rewind this section so that you're aware. This is a little bit harder because you are using what you learned in point slope and what you just learned today on parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay? So go ahead and pause this video. You can read the problem for number 4, and then you can check back with my work. Alright, so write the equation of a line in point-slope form that is parallel to the line shown on the graph below, and it goes through the point -6, 0. So I've written down my point-slope equation. I've underlined the word parallel because I know that I'm going to try to find a, when I find a slope, it has to be the exact same slope. So I found 3 endpoints on my graph here that that I'm going to use to find my slope. Remember, slope is rise over run, so I'm going to start just like how I read. I start from left to right. So from this point here, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. So that's +3 because I'm going in the positive direction of going up. My run, I'm going to the right. Make sure that pattern, the exact same thing to go on to your next point. So my slope here is 3 over over 2. So my problem is asking for my answer in point slope. What I'm going to do, just going to fill in this stuff, the original part of the equation, and then my slope was 3/2. I'm going to replace that with m, and then my point is -6, 0, so let me highlight that in that blue color so you guys can see. And I'm going to plug that in. X is -6. I already have a minus sign, so remember, oops, let me do that. Remember that when you have a double negatives, you have to use parentheses. Let me use a senior pen here. So -6. Okay. And then my y value is 0. But I gotta do some extra stuff here because I can't have double negatives. X minus -6 is the same thing as if you were to add. And y minus 0, we can actually simplify that to just having y on the left side. So here we go. Y equals 3/2. X plus 6 is my final answer. Okay? This down and the space for that. So that's pretty much it. That's parallel and perpendicular lines for you. If you could please try some of the problems on the back. It's a mix of point slope review and the topic for today, which is parallel and perpendicular. You can find the answer key on Google Classroom. For the remainder of this, I will be going over it in class, okay? Oop, it shifted a little bit. But just remember that slope, parallel, you have the same slope with perpendicular lines. You have opposite reciprocal slopes, and you will have to do extra. You can like map it out here like I wrote on this example. You start with a number, you go to another number. Just follow the steps, opposite and then reciprocal. Okay, good luck, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you guys in class. Bye.